प्रभु ना दर्शन करता,
ओम नमो हरिहंताणम,
सिद्ध प्रभु ना दर्शन करता,
ओम नमो सिद्धाणम,
आचार्यों ने वंदन करता,
ओम नमो आयर्याणम,
उपाध्याय ने वंदन करता,
ओम नमो उपध्यायाणम,
सर्व साधु ने वंदन करता,
नमो लोये सब साहूणम,
सम्यक दर्शन मुझने मर्जो,
तेसो पंचन मुक्तारो,
सम्यक ज्ञान मुझने मर्जो,
सौवा पाह परासनो,
सम्यक चारित्र मुझने मर्जो,
मंगलानं च सर्वेषु,
नवपदनी आराधना करता,
परमं हवै मंगलम, परमं हवै मंगलम, परमं हवै मंगलम.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our second webinar this week. My name is Smita, and I'm the portfolio holder for Oshwal Business and Professional Network. A huge thank you to our fantastic speakers for sharing their time. Tonight's session is all about degree apprenticeships and T-levels. I'd like to thank our IT team as well for working hard behind the scenes to keep everything running smoothly. And I'm looking forward to our speakers sharing their time, insights and experiences in the world of degree apprenticeships and T-levels. Without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Kaylan, the mastermind behind today's brilliantly organised webinar. Thanks, Kaylan.
Thanks, Smita. Hope everyone can hear me, and sorry my voice is a bit off because I've been ill for the last few days. So we're going to start off today. So I just want to say thank you to all the speakers who have volunteered their time to take part and share their invaluable experiences. And of course, as Smita said, to the Zoom and IT teams who are doing all the hosting and the techie things behind the scenes. Education is changing. Employers are crying out for skilled, job-ready people, and young people want routes that actually prepare them for work. T-levels and degree apprenticeships are answering that call. When we think about education, a lot of us still picture the traditional routes, schools, A-levels, university, and then get into a career, right? But the truth is that's not the only option anymore, and for many young people, it's not the best fit either. That's where T-levels and degree apprenticeships come in. They're designed to bring in the best of both worlds, academic learning and real workplace experience. For students, that means gaining skills that employers are actively asking for whilst building confidence in a real workplace. For employers, it's a chance to develop a pipeline of motivated and experienced work-ready talent. T-levels offer a strong technical foundation with industry placements built in. Degree apprenticeships go a step further, allowing students to earn a salary, avoid university fees, and still come out with a recognized degree, all whilst gaining years of professional experience. So today we're going to explore how these routes open doors, not just for learners, but for businesses and the wider economy. We're going to hear from learners and employees, followed by a Q&A session. By the end, I hope you see how degree apprenticeships and T-levels are helping to shape a more practical, inclusive, and exciting future for careers and education. I'd like to start by introducing our speakers. So I'm just going to share my screen. So we've got with us today Maggie, who's an early careers manager at Tilbury Douglas, myself, and I'm doing a project management apprenticeship with Tilbury Douglas. You got Dia and Sunny, who are both doing a flying start with PwC. Shivani, who's doing a T-levels in early careers and education, and Dylan, who's doing a solicitor's apprenticeship. I'm going to hand it over to Dylan, who's going to take over for now.
Hello, everyone. Can I just get a thumbs up from the panel that they can all hear me? Brilliant. That's very good to hear. So, my name is Dylan Shah, and I'm doing a solicitor apprenticeship. So, before we start about who I am, can we just go back to the previous slide, please? I just want to emphasize one thing. When we're talking about degree apprenticeships, when we're talking about university, when we're talking about T-levels and higher education overall, it's not about the money. It's not about the glory. It's not about, this objective idea of what is the best thing out there. It's about you. Look at yourself, think about who you are, and try and figure out what the best thing is for you. So with that in mind, I'm going to start. Next slide, please. So, who am I? As I said, my name is Dylan. I'm 19 years old and I'm in my second year of a solicitor apprenticeship. So, what does this entail? This means that I get a law degree, my solicitor's qualifying exam, and practical experience from a job, all rolled into one 6-year program. Outside of work, these are my interests. I love playing Indian music, so I play the tabla, the dhol, and the harmonium. I love Bollywood, music, and films. I play basketball, and as you can see from the picture, I do love to barbecue. In terms of other hobbies outside of work, I'm heavily involved with a charity called Shishkunj, as I'm sure many of you will know. I play water polo regularly and I go to the gym. As you can see, from a solicitor apprenticeship, you can get a really good life built for you. Okay, you can keep up with your interests, keep up with your hobbies, all while developing that wider skill set around work. So, next slide, please. Why choose to work and study? It's an interesting question because initially, when you're thinking about it, especially at the ages of 16, 17, and even 18, it's a hard question to answer. I've tried to break it down into 4 different areas for me. Firstly, legal skills. The industry of law is evolving. It's adapting to things like AI and also very much adapting to fraud. Because with the rise of artificial intelligence, fake news, fake cases are becoming on the norm. So, as a lawyer, what do we need to be? We need to be adaptable. We need to be, commercially aware, and we need to have critical analysis. Working and studying allows that to be built by looking at your law degree and different cases in the past and seeing how that impacts how you interpret the law in the present, you get to develop your skills every single day. And I have done this. My most recent university module, land law, has been directly applicable right now in my current banking seat, looking at mortgages as security. In addition, working and studying provides a job, and that comes with a salary. So, inevitably, you build your financial skills. When I receive my income every month, I have to learn how to budget. For example, I've moved out with my brother, so I pay rent. I also have to pay TFL for all of my unfortunate tubes that I have to take if it's not strikes. I also need to be able to pay for groceries. So, being able to become financially sound is really important, and working and studying gives you that balance. Sort of embracing that, it's about learning how to live like an adult. You have to be able to be mature enough to work and study. For me, it was quite a big, transition from school because being able to live like an adult meant that I had to take care of myself in a different way. I didn't have mum and dad to do my washing for me. I didn't have mum and dad to cook for me. I had to do it all myself. And that provides some real independence. And if that's for you, this is a great route. Essentially, all 3 of these points can be encompassed by this one broader idea, right? Learning from experience. Every time you make a mistake, which you're bound to do, which I know I've done plenty, you learn from it. You can then directly apply what you've learned into your next time. It's a great thing. Next slide, please. So let's look a week in the life of Dylan, the apprentice. So, a legal apprenticeship is essentially where you work for 4 days a week and you study on one day. Different law firms operate in different ways, but essentially, Monday or Friday is your study day, and then the rest of the 4 days of the working week are where you're in the office. So for me, Monday is my study day. So I join a weekly lecture. I also have to do a lot of note taking, reading case law, etc. But I can also use this day to read around what I'm doing in work. For example, in my previous seat in litigation, I had to read a lot of case law. So using this study day to brush up on my knowledge, brush up on some technical points was really useful. Tuesday to Fridays, I work from around 9 to 6 every single day on average. And in those days, it's intense, drafting documents, researching, and meeting clients. It's full on, but it's really worth it. Then on Saturday and Sunday, it's about relaxing, resting, and recuperating. Through endeavors in Shishkunj, in sports, in the gym, I'm able to fully focus on the other side of my life. And in my experience, a legal apprenticeship has allowed me to still maintain that life. There's this stigma around corporate life and, losing yourself in the pursuit of that glamorous corporate career. And I can safely say that from my experience, this hasn't happened. So essentially, the key is it's all about balance. If you can, and I think I've managed to do this now, it's taken me a while. I've managed to achieve a structure and balance, essentially allowing myself to pursue different avenues of my life to the best of my ability. Next slide, please. But I would be lying if I said that this life is easy. It's very, very much not. Okay, there's challenges. Firstly, let's look at the social life. The biggest drawback or stereotypical drawback in a degree apprenticeship is that you don't really get a social life, especially if you're working consistently throughout the year. Has this been true to an extent? Look, I can't go out clubbing every night. I can't go out, partying at university like I would, right? But it's a different type of social life, and you have to adapt. One, you're with much more, senior people in your team, so socializing with them is quite different, but it's still achievable. You can still go out with people. You can still socialize in your own different way. You've just got to be able to adapt. For me, a group of us apprentices will always, go out for maybe dinner on a Thursday night, and then we'll just chill in a park somewhere if it's warm. And that's an achievable social life. It works. Again, working in an office and working in a higher pressure environment does mean that you're going to be finding things difficult. But remember, that's the point. I think what I realized over this last year is work is meant to be difficult. It's meant to challenge you because then you're learning, right? You're learning, you're thriving, and you're being pushed to your most a bit like your best ability essentially. So while this life is, challenging, it does provide some difficulties. It is definitely worth it. Next slide, please. As I said, the opportunities never stop. When I'm interacting with clients from across the world, Dentons is a global law firm. I'm on Zoom calls or Teams calls with people from Singapore, Dubai. Today, I'm sitting in the banking team right now. So today I was on a call with an investment bank from Japan, and that pretty much surmises my experience. You're getting exposure to different cultures, different ways of working, and it only allows you to grow. The opportunities that I've had, for example, going to a secondment to a bank, has basically allowed me to progress my career to a point where I've got commercial knowledge that I would have never dreamt of at 17 years old. At 17 and 18, I realized that this life was for me, and I do not regret it at all. So that is essentially a rundown for my solicitor apprenticeship. So, yeah, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak about this.
Thanks, Dylan. Some really good stuff then. Some really good insights as to what you do day to day and why you do it, right? Thanks for that. So now we're going to move on to Dia and Sunny, who are going to be doing their bit together. Over to you guys.
Thank you, Kaylan and Dylan, and hello to everyone. I hope you've had a wonderful summer break, and I'm so glad to see so many of you here today. Whether you're applying now, in the future, or just here to learn about something new, I hope you'll find this helpful. Next slide, please. My name is Sane, and I'm in the fourth year of the Flying Start program at the University of Nottingham, and I'm here to tell you all about it. This course is a BSc accountancy degree run jointly by PwC, also known as Price Waterhouse Coopers. It's run by the University of Nottingham and the ICAW, which is the professional body for chartered accountants. PwC is one of the big four accounting firms providing audit services that help businesses ensure their financial statements are accurate, compliant, and trustworthy. It's a four-year course where you'll split your time between study at university and working on placements with PwC. By the time you graduate, you have completed the degree itself, as well as 12 out of 15 of the ACA exams, which is the qualification to become a chartered accountant. And with most cases, they will offer you a role to stay with them after uni. And Nottingham isn't the only place you can do it. Flying Start Accountancy is currently offered at 5 universities: Nottingham, Newcastle, Manchester, Reading, and Queen Mary's University. I'm going to pass over to Dia, who will tell you a bit more.
Thank you, Sunny. So my name is Dia, and I'm in the third year of the Flying Start programme, also at the University of Nottingham. When I was deciding what to do after school, I knew one thing for certain. I didn't just want to spend 3 years sitting in lecture halls and then only start thinking about a career afterwards. I wanted something more practical, a course that would let me build skills in the classroom and then put them into practice straight away in the real world. That's what drew me to the Flying Start program. It's the perfect balance between academic study and hands-on experience. The paid placements with PwC give me the opportunity not just to learn about accounting in theory, but to actually work with clients, real teams, and learn from people who are at the very top of the profession. Another big reason for me was PwC itself. It's one of the big four. It is a global firm with some of the biggest and most exciting clients in the world. To be able to start my career here, learning from such a prestigious organization so early on, gives me an incredible head start. It makes my CV stand out and opens doors to opportunities all over the world. I was also really motivated by the fact that by the time I graduate, I'll be well on my way to becoming a chartered accountant. For most graduates, the journey starts after the university, but with Flying Start, I'm already several steps ahead. Most people think accounting is just spreadsheets and numbers, but that's only a part of it. On placement, you actually get a peek behind the curtain of some of the biggest companies in the world. You see how real businesses operate, their challenges, their strategies, and how decisions are made at a top level. And finally, I chose Nottingham because it offered the best of both worlds. The reputation of a top university with excellent teaching, and the chance to still enjoy a full student experience while building my professional career. So in short, the Flying Start program gives me exactly what I was looking for. World-class teaching, real-world experience, and a huge head start in my career, all while still being able to enjoy university life. Next slide, please.
One of the most unique things about this program is that you don't just live the typical student life, you also live the professional one. At university, things feel like any other student's experience. You have lectures, seminars, essays, societies, sports, and of course, the fun nights out with friends. There's a lot of freedom and flexibility. But then, when you go on placement, the whole rhythm changes. Suddenly, you're in a professional environment, usually working 9 to 5. You'll have real deadlines, real responsibilities, and you're part of a team delivering audits and financial work for actual clients. It's a big step up because you're no longer just learning, you're contributing. Before your placement, you'll be given the opportunity to apply for which city you'd like to work in. And the options are plentiful from London, Watford, Manchester, Birmingham, and many more. I work in the Watford office in the General Audit Division, and Dia works in the office based in London Bridge, where they audit firms in the asset and wealth management industry. They will also provide you with free accommodation if home is far away from your office, and will even subsidize any travel to and from client site. During my second placement, I was given quite a bit of responsibility within the team, to the extent that I found myself leading some meetings because I was the only one who had been working on certain sections of the audit. I was also lucky enough to be able to join the team when they traveled to the client site for a week, which was actually located in Spain. Despite having to work 12-hour shifts and sometimes maybe even more at home, I thoroughly enjoyed pushing myself because I learnt so much in such a short period of time. Switching between those two worlds can be challenging. On placement, you can't live like a student anymore. You have to think and act like a professional. And then when you return to university, you get that freedom back.
Next slide. Thank you. So once you're on the course, your 4 years are as follows. So in year one, it's completely university based. You complete your first 6 certificate level ACA exams, including Principles of Taxation, Financial Accounting and Management, and Assurance. And then in years 2, 3, and 4, they all include a paid placement with PwC. Each one is about 1 term long, so you still have your summers free. You also complete all your professional level ACA exams within these 3 years. So how do you actually get onto the Flying Start program? The process is a little different from a standard degree. You still apply through UCAS to the university, of Nottingham, so it counts as one of your UCAS choices. There are no prerequisites in terms of what A levels you do. For example, I did maths, economics, and physics, but I had a friend that did Spanish, art, and business. The grade requirements for this course usually range from 3As to ABB, depending on what university you apply to. When it comes to applying to UCAS, one of the most important parts is your personal statement. And here's the thing, they're not expecting you to already know everything about accounting or to have loads of work experience in finance. What they do want is to see your motivation, your curiosity, and your potential. So how do you show that? Firstly, you show why you're interested in accounting and business. Maybe you've enjoyed maths, economics, or problem solving at school, or you've just been curious about how business works or how money flows through organizations. Secondly, you highlight your transferable skills. You don't need an accounting internship. Use examples from school projects, part-time jobs, sports teams, or volunteering. Things like teamwork, communication, problem solving, and time management are exactly what PwC wants to see. Thirdly, show balance. Flying Start is all about balancing student and professional life. If you can show you've already balanced different commitments, like schoolwork, alongside a job or extracurriculars, that's a great point to make. And finally, be genuine. Don't just write about what they want to hear. If you're excited about opportunities, say why. If you're motivated by the chance to get a head start in your career, make that clear. Ultimately, your personal statement is about showing what you're motivated to learn, curious about business, and ready to take on a challenge. They're not looking for the finished article, they're looking for potential. And that's something you already have. Remember, these things are all applicable to all real-world employment and degree applications. Once the university has approved your application through reading your personal statement and meeting the required predicted grades, you will be directed to PwC. That involves a few stages. First, an online application and eligibility check, then some online assessments, so things like logical reasoning and behavioral tests. After that, there's a video interview where you're asked about your motivation and how you approach problem solving. And then there's an assessment center, which usually includes group exercises. So in a way, you're applying to both the university and PwC at the same time. And yes, it is competitive, but it's not just about grades. PwC are really looking for people who can communicate well, who are motivated to learn, and who show potential to succeed in both a university setting and a professional environment. What's important to remember is that they want to see your potential, your willingness to learn, to adapt, and to push yourself. If you can show that, then you've got every chance of succeeding.
In short, the PwC Flying Start program isn't just a degree, it's a launchpad. You gain real-world experience, work with global companies, earn a salary, and make significant progress towards becoming a chartered accountant, all while still enjoying the university experience. It's demanding, of course, but it gives you a head start that most graduates only dream of. For anyone motivated, curious, and ready to step into the professional world early, Flying Start is an opportunity to learn, grow, and truly see what your career could look like. And it might just be the smartest move you make after school. But I want to leave you with a bigger message. Flying Start is just one of many options. The traditional three-year university route isn't the only way forward anymore. And it's not automatically the best option for everyone. What's exciting today is the sheer variety of pathways available to you. Degree apprenticeships, for example, are growing fast across almost every industry you can think of. Accountancy, law, engineering, technology, healthcare, and even creative industries. They give you the chance to earn while you learn, to avoid building up huge amounts of debt, and to graduate not only with a qualification, but with years of work experience that employers really value. Even with PwC, Flying Start is just one route. They also offer degree apprenticeships in technology and consulting, meaning that whether you're more numbers driven, tech minded, or interested in problem solving and strategy, there's a path that could suit you. The important thing to recognize is that university alone is not the only way to succeed. It comes down to finding a path that fits you. I guess you'll probably hear that many times today. your strength, your ambitions, and the way you like to learn. So if there's one thought I'd like you to take away from today, it's this. Be open-minded and curious about the routes ahead of you. Don't just do what you think you're supposed to do. Explore all the options, whether it's Flying Start, another degree apprenticeship, or even a more traditional course. Because the world of work is changing, and people who succeed are the ones who take opportunities early on and make them count. Apprenticeships like Flying Start are proof that you can have the best of both worlds, the academic side and the professional side, and set yourself up for an amazing future from the very beginning. So think about where you want to be in 3, 4, 5 years' time. And remember the choice you make after A levels can put you miles ahead of the crowd. Thank you so much for listening, and please don't hesitate to ask if you have any questions towards the end.
Thank you.
Thanks, India. That's a really wholesome and powerful experience you got there, and some great tips and advice shared there. So thanks a lot. Over to Shivani.
Can I just interrupt before Shivani starts? We've got some comments, and someone has said thank you very much for explaining the process of applying for an apprenticeship. And Pooja has said you still have to go through quite a few hurdles even after uni accepts you. Thank you for explaining it all. So I really appreciate both I've got Dia and Sayan. They're
Sane.
Sane, sorry, Sane, explaining the process, and Dylan as well, because that was really fascinating about a degree apprenticeship in law. So thank you.
Over to you, Shivani.
Thank you. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining. My name is Shivani and I'm 17 years old. I'm a second year student for T-Levels, which is the step before university or degree apprenticeships. So after GCSEs, I knew I didn't want to do A levels and I wanted something that was a little bit more hands-on and a hands-on experience. So I did some researching and I found T-Levels. It's a very new thing. It's only been around 5 years. I found a T-Levels on early years, which I've always had a passion for, and it was an industry I'd always wanted to go into. Yeah, next slide. So what is a T-level? A T-level is a technical qualification where you receive a level 3 qualification on the subject you have chosen. It's equivalent to 3 A levels, so it's essentially A levels on one subject, and it includes 80% in the classroom and 20% in a work industry placement of choice. It leads into the same route as A levels, like employment or higher learning. However, it goes through a different route, which I'll go through. Next slide, please. So the requirements and grading are slightly different. So each college will set their own requirements when it comes to applying to do a T-level. However, because it is a 2-year full-on degree course, English GCSEs and maths will most likely both need to be passed. It's separated into 2 years when it comes down to grading. So for year 1, you have a core component where you will do 2 exams and something called an employer set project. So it's digital and paper-based exams where you'll receive a grade from A star to E, like an A level. And then in year 2, you do the occupational specialism. So whatever your T level is on, you'll do a specialism course on that where you'll get a pass to distinction. And then overall, over the 2 years, you'll get a overall grade from pass to distinction, and then you also get your level 3 qualification. Next slide, please. So what T-levels are available? At the moment, there are over 20 new T-levels available since 5 years ago over these topics. So there are some in agriculture, environment and animal care, business and administration, construction, creative and design, digital, early years and education, engineering and manufacturing, health and science, legal, finance and accounting, and sales and marketing. Within these topics, there are sub T-levels, which you can research further, but they're all within these topics. Next slide, please. So for me, I do an early years and education T-level. So the structure of this, each T-level will be a 2-year course. So it's the same time and duration of a A-level course, but obviously it's only on the one subject. So for me, I have a 750-hour placement that I have to do, which will be approved by my placement to say that I've attended for 750 hours. So it's around 375 hours a year, and I go for 2 days. So during year two, a week in my life would be Monday and Wednesday, I go to placement and I work in a private nursery as a practitioner and a student. So you don't have to, as part of a T-level, you are not required to be employed. So it's not an employed placement. However, some placements will decide to employ you. So for me, I work as a student, as an early years practitioner who is unqualified, and I still have the same tasks and roles as a practitioner, except I am still learning on the job. And then Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, I go to college, and you do study for your exams and coursework, but also creative activities. So within each T level, you'll have assignments. And for us, we have quite a few planning and observation activities where we have to do creative activities. So you learn that in your placement to take back to your nursery, and you learn your skills in college that you can take back to nursery too, but also from nursery, you can bring back your experiences and share it as a class. So for the outcomes, it is again equivalent to 3 A levels, which will convert into UCAS points if you do wish to go to university afterwards. And then for me, I get a license to practice as a level 3 practitioner once I've completed my course. The progression onto from a T level is you can, for me, go into direct early years practitioner, a nursery worker, or a teaching assistant with the level 3 qualification, or I can then go into further of a higher education, going into teaching, social work, child psychology, nursing, and other related degrees. Next slide, please. So after a T level, it doesn't stop at just T levels. Whilst you have your qualification, you can choose to just go straight into employment. However, there are other options. So you can go into higher education, which is a uni degree. However, it's not all degrees that will be available. So depending on the T level you do, will depend on the degree that's available for you to do. It will have to be related to your degree, as that's the base knowledge you know. It's kind of the same with A levels, where if you do certain A levels, you go on to certain degrees. And then you can do a higher degree apprenticeship with this. Again, it will still be on your T level. So for example, I could do a degree on early childhood studies in my placement after doing my T level, or you go into skilled employment. As you do have the basic knowledge and further knowledge of the T level you're doing, you can go into employment. With T levels, the hope was that obviously if you don't want to go into further education, you do get a job after the completing your 2 years of T levels with the employer that you've stuck with for 2 years. And then you can also go into further training. For example, if I wanted to become a teacher, I have my level 3 as a practitioner, but then I'd have to do a QTS on top of that. The routes are endless after a T level. It's not like you do a T level and you're done. You can choose to further your career and progression. For example, I want to go to university and do a degree in education and psychology and then become a private counsellor from that. So I'm not stopping at my level 3. But the routes are endless, so it is a very good option if you are someone who prefers hands-on or a placement or work experience, or you don't know what you want to do, but you think you might want to do this. So going into this, you can go and have the experience of, do I want to become a nursery practitioner? You do the twos and you decide, no, that's not for me, rather than doing A levels, going through a degree, do a degree in that, and then go into work placement and you're like, I don't like this, and you're going to have to restart. So the opportunities are endless. So it is a very valid option compared to A levels. But yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Shivani. There's some really good insights into, I guess, a relatively new course, and I guess most people don't understand or know what a T level is. So thanks for sharing that, and there'll be more to come on that from Maggie later on. I'm up next, and hello everyone. Thanks for joining. And I'm Kaylan, I'm 20 years old, and I'm currently working at Tilbury Douglas Paragon. We're the specialist fit out division within Tilbury Douglas, and we deal with projects more so in London, and we do a lot of secure projects for the government as well. I'm currently starting in September, actually next week, my bachelor's for construction project management, and I'm at Anglo Ruskin in Chelmsford. A couple months ago, I just finished my level 4 in construction management and achieved my tech CIOB status. So that's kind of halfway to get to your chartership. And over the next 3 years, I'll be working to achieve my MCIOB, which is the full chartership. Outside of work in uni, I do like Dylan, Indian music, of course. Do play badminton and squash, and I do love just exploring and learning about construction projects which are happening currently, innovation which we can use in the future. And some of my hobbies are obviously with Oshwal, where I do like to volunteer and help out a lot, like driving, of course, and plane spotting as well. So, quick overview as to why I chose a degree apprenticeship. As is well known, obviously you're earning whilst you're learning. So, although I'm getting my degree, I'm also given the chance to work, earn money, develop those financial skills which enable me to know how to budget, how to save, how to invest in the future. That way, I'm building up my finance portfolio for the future. I'm able to gain practical hands-on experience, which I wouldn't be able to do if I was at uni, just stuck in a lecture hall for 3 years, learning about a topic which I guess is more so practical rather than theoretical. I'm gaining people skills and obviously theoretical skills whilst being on site on the job. I'm dealing with a lot of different kinds of people in different industries, in different roles. I've not got any university debt, of course, because the employer pays for the university. All I have to do obviously is make sure I'm achieving my goals, achieving my targets, making sure I'm doing my assignments, making sure I'm completing my modules. As long as I do my part, the employer takes away that stress of having that debt of 9, 10K a year, which really helps. Why also I chose it is Tilbury Douglas is a reputable company. It's one of the biggest construction companies in the UK, and they are getting bigger. They're doing a lot more wide range of projects, and there's a lot of support available. Whereas going to uni, you'll only get support from a uni. Doing a degree apprenticeship enables me to have support from my employer and my university. So therefore, you've got best of both worlds. I mean, Maggie, who's helps me a lot at work, she gives advice on how I can improve at work, how I can tie that in with my uni work, and same again, I've got study coaches at uni who give me feedback on my uni, how I'm doing in modules, etc. I also do get part of the uni experiences. You can still go to societies, you can still go to activities and clubs which uni hosts. And more so to me, the idea of degree apprenticeship just sounded fun. Because me in my head, I was like, there's no way I'm going to be sitting in uni for 3 years. I'd rather be on the job learning and also working. So a day in the life of me, 4 days I'm at work. So roughly hours are from 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. But being in the construction industry, random things happen at random times which you can't plan for. Some days I'm on site at 7, some days I'm on site 9, 10 p.m. It just depends on what's going on. During my work days, I do a wide range of different activities. I'm managing relationships with clients, I'm managing the works happening on site, making sure they're being done properly, make sure correct health and safety is being followed, make sure there's good quality, and overall, as a manager, ensuring there's compliance and transparency within the project. I then also spend 1 day a week at uni, which I'm going to be starting next week, where I obviously go through all my modules. The course is essentially the same as a full-time degree, whereas a normal degree will take 3 years. Mine will take 5 years because I'm obviously only going 1 day a week. Some of the examples of the modules is construction technology, health and safety, economics, law, finance, program management, and cost control. So as you can see, you get a wide range of experiences with it. You're getting finance, you're getting technology, you're getting engineering, you're getting different kinds of industries as such within those topics, and therefore you're able to build a full picture of, whilst you're at uni, you're also gaining the experience from what you can put them two together to become a fully fledged project manager or construction director when you then graduate. Whilst I'm at uni, I'm also preparing and completing my endpoint assessment, which is part of the chartership to be able to achieve my tech CIOB status, which I've got a couple months ago, and then working towards my MCIOB, which is the full chartership. That's basically the equivalent of like Dia and Sane are doing the ACCA exam. Similar to that in construction, you got the MCIOB membership. So challenges turn to opportunities. I don't like to say I've had any challenges because more so I see them as something which has turned into an opportunity. For example, when I first started coming out of sixth form, going straight into a workplace, I faced a lot of difficulty adjusting, seeing how the different atmospheres are. Going from that school to work environment, you get kind of thrown in the deep end. You're like, you don't have teachers you can go to anymore. You don't really have many mates your age that you can go and ask for help from, copy notes from, etc. More so, you're out there by yourself. You've got to think for yourself. You've got to think on your feet. You can't ask people too much because you want to show that you're independent, you're willing to learn. When I was there, within the first few months, I was tasked with projects which I hadn't even ever heard or seen before in my life, right? I was looking at drawings which were really complex, validating them, making sure that what was on the drawing, which was on site, they were accurate. These kind of drawings I'd never seen before. They were huge drawings, really complex, I had to just focus, I had to just look at it, break it down, keep calm, and just be like, what's on here and what's out there. Managing the workload from university and also work was also a difficulty, because it turned out that even at school, I used to leave things to the last minute. Same, I'd done that with uni for the first few terms. After that, I realized you can't leave things to the last minute. You need to plan and prepare to make sure you're ahead of the game, so you don't get everything coming to you at the last minute. Because I was doing my chartership, I also had the stress of creating evidence pieces, writing about them, doing extra exams for my EPA, for my chartership as well. So you have to be able to balance your uni assignments, the modules, all your pieces of evidence and exams which you do for your endpoint assessment, and obviously tasks which I get given at work. Sometimes I don't get time to finish them during the day. I'll be at home or I'll stay on site later, get working through them. Time management and communication also is something which develops. My manager always says develops with age. I have noticed that over the last 2 years, as you go on, you'll always get more experience with managing your time, communication, knowledge. So when you start, you'll always feel really timid and shy, but you should never let that deter you from carrying on. When I first started, I know I was really scared and I was like, I don't think I should be here. But I just persevered, went through it and carried on, and now I get on really well with the team, well respected, and we all get along really well. Balancing work life with also personal commitments like Oshwal, I'll always end up delving so much into things. Sometimes you'll start neglecting other things. Again, that's a skill which comes with time. And although it's a challenge, it's presented this opportunity for me to be able to develop and gain them skills to make sure I'm going to be professional when I grow older. I know what I'm going to be doing and I know how to manage myself. Also, being able to do a degree apprenticeship, I'm able to work on once in a lifetime projects and meet people from all areas of industry. I'm meeting daily, I'm meeting architects, I'm meeting clients, I'm meeting designers, engineers, I'm meeting end users, loads of different people involved with the project, because you've got to think that I'm building something which the world is going to rely on eventually, right? So right now I'm doing a secure project for the government. I know that that's critical to their infrastructure. I know that they're going to need that building working exactly the way it should on time. So you've got to be able to work with client pressures, with subcontractor pressures, supply chains. They sometimes will always try and rub you up the wrong way, but you've got to be able to develop that that skill set, which means that you can work with everyone. And I guess that all comes part of doing that degree apprenticeship, getting that experience from working on site or on the job, and also using that theoretical knowledge which you get from your university, putting them together. And the advantage that is, when I finish in 5 years, there'll be friends of mine which have just finished their course 3 years, but they may be struggling to get jobs because they can't show the experience that they worked on this project, that project, they've worked with these people. They've just come out uni, they've got their knowledge, don't get me wrong, they've got loads and loads of theoretical knowledge, but it's hard for them to apply it, which is why the degree apprenticeship appealed more to me. To close out, big advice from me is never give up, just keep calm and carry on. Sometimes things will get really tough. You'll feel like you're about to crash out. Just keep calm and carry on and never give up. If you've got a dream, just go there, do what you need to do, block the noise and just go there and do it. Ignore the negativity from people, because people are always going to try and push you down, but just keep your eye on the prize, get your degree apprenticeship or get your degree, make sure you got your career and your kind of lifestyle ahead of you planned out, go smash it. Thanks for listening. I'm going to pass on to Maggie now.
Thank you so much, Kaylan, and thank you to other speakers as well. Amazing, inspirational stories. It was amazing to hear from my perspective as an employer. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce myself. Hello, everybody. My name is Maggie, and I'm Early Careers Manager at Tilbury Douglas. As Kaylan mentioned earlier, we are one of the biggest contractors in the UK with 7 regional offices. In my role, Kaylan, can we go to the next slide? Sorry, thank you. I have nearly 20 years of experience. My 20 years are actually gonna happen in March next year. Always worked around learning and development, early careers, apprentices, graduate program, and pathway to professional recognition. I'm an apprentice myself, and I'm a great ambassador of apprenticeships. I believe that apprenticeships not only upskill us and give us skills that we need to perform better in our roles, but gives us access to many professionals that build our networks, and we earn money at the same time, and that's the beauty of it. I think every single speaker earlier mentioned the fact that apprenticeship helped them grow financially. The knowledge, financial knowledge and skills allowed them, the apprenticeships allowed them to improve. I have three passions. One, the biggest passion is construction and working in construction and bringing new talent to construction. My second passion is traveling. I love traveling, I love camping, I love nature. And my third passion are animals. I've got 2 dogs at home. Oh, sorry, I've got 1 dog now. Apologies, I managed to forget that I lost one. Yeah, animals. I rescue and I look after them to best ability. Thank you, Kaylan. Can we go to the next slide? I'm going to be talking about employer perspective, how we see those 3 pathways we discussed today. As an early careers manager, I look after T-levels and work experiences. We had speakers talking about T-levels, fantastic experience. It was very insightful. From my perspective, we look at T-levels and industrial placement from a completely different perspective. For us, this is talent spotting exercise. We take on average 2-3 T-level students every month across the UK, actually across England only. There are no T-levels in Scotland and Wales. And we have a rotation of T-levels joining us and T-level students leaving us. Each T-level students who complete placement with us, and the guidance is very specific. You need to do minimum of 350 hours of industrial placement with an employer in your discipline. Once you complete the placement with us, you are shortlisted for an interview when we start recruiting and when you are ready to join the world of work. I also look after work experiences. We offer placement up to 2 weeks to students in year 9, 10 and 11, and at higher levels in Scotland and in Wales, where there are no T-levels. I look after apprentices from level 2 to 7. 2 is equivalent of GCSEs. Level 3 is equivalent of A-levels, T-levels. Level 4 is equivalent to HNC, Higher National Certificate, or Higher Technical Qualification. Level 5 is the old HND, and level 6 is Bachelor degree, and 7 being Masters. And in our business, we have 160 apprentices from level 2 to level 7. I also look after graduate programs, including summer placement and year out. And again, this is a talent spotting exercise for us. We work with universities. We work with BP. We work with Loughborough. We work with Nottingham Trent. We work with students. We offer them summer placement, year out placement. We offer sponsorship options as well. If we see the talents that we want to keep, we offer them some bursary for the final year to help them financially, and then they come back to us on 2-year graduate program. Thank you, Kaylan. Can we move on to the next slide? I was pondering about this slide, but I decided to put this in, bearing in mind that some of our audience might be interested where to find those opportunities. For apprenticeship, I would suggest go to gov.uk and type in search for apprenticeship. That would open another window where you can narrow down your discipline and narrow down to a region you are looking for the apprenticeship in. This is a live website. Job offers are constantly added. You can see very clearly when you have to apply by. Most of the applications for apprenticeship in construction starts around February time, around National Apprenticeship Week. The graduate positions are usually advertised a little bit earlier, so we're talking November, the previous year. And T-level, the best way of finding any opportunity is to go to your local college and find out if they offer T-levels in a discipline you are interested in. As we learned today, there are 10 standards available already, and there is something for everybody. You can also look up on your local authority's website. They normally have a division that works with skills and growth, and that will be your opportunity to explore different options in your area. Amazing Apprenticeship are great source of information on apprenticeship in all 3 countries in the UK. I would suggest to look up that website for a bit of guidance and advice if you are torn between your choices. Thank you. What does an employer look for? This is a question I've asked quite often by students I support and schools I work with. Grades are important and give you access to good programs when you are applying for full-time university courses. When we're looking at apprenticeships, I want you to think mostly about your soft skills. What employer want to see is, can you listen? Can you follow instruction? Can you stay safe? And can you keep others safe? Are you good at timekeeping? Are you able to get up in the morning and actually start working at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock or whatever the working hours are? Can you work in a team? Are you a team player? Are you willing to learn? How's your planning? Are you able to meet the deadlines? Do you have any leadership skills? These are the questions we normally ask for. So when you prepare for your apprenticeships, when you prepare for your interview, think about those soft skills, because these are the most important one. Everything else can be taught on the job. Okay. If you don't have GCSEs and the right grades, you can always do functional skills. You can always start at lower level as a foundation and then progress through the levels. Thank you, Kaylan. I'm going to quickly go over the structure of apprenticeship, although our guest speakers already mentioned that, but I wanted to draw your attention to 2 things that you need to understand about apprenticeships. There are 2 phases in your apprenticeship, and those on the screen right now, especially the endpoint assessment phase, is very much what we see in construction. So Dylan might see different examination in his apprenticeship because he's doing a higher master's level degree apprenticeship, but other speakers might see something similar. So there is a phase called learning, active learning or practical learning. This is where you go to college, university, or join workshops online like Dylan, and you learn. Okay, this is usually 1 day, but every university or provider have different curriculum. So that will be your Monday learning day, or Tuesday, or Wednesday, or Thursday, or Friday. You might go to university or college for a whole block. This delivery is called block delivery, and you basically go to study for a week with other students, and you have a bit of social and students' life there, and then you come back to work full-time for the remainder of the month. Like I said, each provider has different way of delivering those things. So when you do your research, ask the question. They normally say that on the website, but it's always worth asking if you can't find it easy. The active practical learning leads usually to academic qualification. So you might achieve your HNC or HND or bachelor degree or master's when you study for level 7. During that period, it's very important that you log all your learning on a special tracker called Off the Job Tracker. And this is basically to demonstrate that what you learn, is linked to your occupational standards, and employer and the provider can quickly identify any gaps in your knowledge, skills and behaviors. Okay. Another very important thing during the learning phase or tripartite meeting is nothing else but progress review meeting, when the employer, provider and the learner meet every 12 weeks and look at the target, how the targets are being met, what else needs to be done to support the learner, identify any barriers, try to remove them as quickly as possible so there is no backlog in learning. Once you complete your active learning, you enter what is known gateway, and then you get ready for your endpoint assessment. Endpoint assessment, we use abbreviation EPA. It's like a final examination to prove that what you've learned so far, you can actually apply in your workplace. If you think about driving, learning is your theory, and endpoint assessment is your test, okay? That you actually can drive the car. And in construction, most of the standards contain an exam, which is a multi-choice exam, and writing a project, and then having a professional discussion on the project and on experience. Both exam is about 45 minutes, a project writing is about 30 hours spread over 6 weeks, and professional discussion is about 2 hours of your time. And that's how apprenticeships work. Very easy and very simple to follow, if you know. Thank you, Kaylan. What your journey could look like. I thought I'd put this very quick chart to show you different ways. So you could start with T-levels or level 3 apprenticeship if you wish to do so. T-levels are technical qualification, like one of the speakers mentioned earlier, combines learning in the college for 80% of the time and spending 1 day or 20% of the time with an employer applying the skills learned at college. T-level placement are unpaid. Okay. If you start your journey at level 3 apprenticeship, you start earning money straight away. Okay. You can then progress to level 4, and I forgot to mention that T-levels, A-levels and level 3 apprenticeship have allocated UCAS point, as you know. Apprenticeships only recently were given a status for UCAS point, and you get a number of UCAS point depending on the duration of your apprenticeship. So for example, 1 year apprenticeship would give you 48 points, 2-year apprenticeship or 18 months first, 18 months, year and a half would give you 64 points, 24 months apprenticeship would give you 96 points, and 36 months apprenticeship would give you 112 UCAS points. You can progress from that to level 4 apprenticeship and then to level 6, or there is another option, as Dylan told us about, a block degree apprenticeship where you study with the same employer and the same provider for the duration of your apprenticeship. In construction, this time is usually 5 years, and endpoint assessment. Obviously, with solicitor apprenticeship, the period is longer because the professional qualification take more time. We offer both options to our people at Tilbury Douglas. Kaylan followed level 4 apprenticeship. He recently completed this journey and is starting his level 6. His level 4 was 2 years, level 6 is 3 years, and at the end of his apprenticeship he will become chartered member of our professional body called Chartered Institute of Building. While you're doing your apprenticeship, you receive salary, you're earning money, you don't have any debts, and the biggest benefit of doing apprenticeship is your contact, your personal network you develop during that time. If I was to give you one advice, is it's not what you know, it's who you know in this life, unfortunately. So please work on your networks. Please connect to as many as possible. Use social media to your advantage. One of the most popular network for professional is LinkedIn. I think you have to be 16 to join, but if you can, please register and start networking. Follow people that bring something important to your life, can help you grow professionally, you can learn from. I've got few people I follow on LinkedIn, and I learn so much from them just by reading they post and having a conversation online with them through responding to their post. Pathway 2 could be A-levels. So you might want to do GCSEs and then move on to A-levels and then move on straight to full-time degree apprenticeship. And do your learning very quickly and then join a company like ourselves on a graduate program. If you're lucky, you find an employer that offers year out placement and summer placement. You're more than welcome to keep an eye on our website and see any opportunity for year out and summer placement. And if you're exceptional, we might offer you bursary to help you financially in your final year, and you join us upon graduation. The downfall to this pathway is that you're not earning any money. You do get paid when you do summer placement or year out, but it's nothing in comparison to what you could get if you were doing apprenticeship. Okay, and you still got your student loan to pay, and that is not a nice thing to have as a legacy when you start transitioning to full-time employment. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Maggie.
Oh, is that the last one? Sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't realize. I
Yeah.
thought I had another slide. So
Cool.
I'm going to wrap up with a final piece of advice. The networking is very important, but I've got one more advice to you. Please don't be afraid to explore. Don't be afraid to ask questions, because every step you take will teach you what kind of person you are and what person you would like to become. Okay, so learn from others, and you got this. I believe in you. What I've learned today from our speakers is that the future is bright, because you are so passionate and you are so great. There is no doubt that you're gonna drive the change we need in this world. So thank you.
Thanks, Maggie. And again, thanks to all the speakers today for giving their time and answering questions, which we're going to go on to now. So we're going to have a Q&A session.
Yeah. Thank you everyone for your time. I just want to open up the questions. Firstly, to Dylan. So Maggie touched on this, but how important is networking in law? Because of how much demand there is. How do people really get themselves out there?
Yeah, good question. How important is networking in law? So on the tin, it is so important, right? Being able to speak to people is one of the best skills that you can have. The people who make partner in law firms, or the people who become KCs, King's Counsel in the barrister side of the legal industry, they're people that can talk. And it's not talking in the sense of waffling and just going on for the sake of going on. It's talking with a purpose. Um, so networking is really important. And I think the main thing to do is look inside yourself and realize what are your interests. Like honestly, what are your interests? For me, when I was applying, I realized that my interests were in the energy sector, and specifically renewable energy, right? So if you've got interests, you're naturally going to explore them by looking at news articles, books, YouTube videos, whatever it is. So then you can leverage that. So when you're talking to individuals from at like networking events from for work experience, or if they can come to your school, or searching the internet and finding networking events. If you've got an interest where you've managed to develop it, research it, and then speak about it confidently, that can really stand you out. And like there are websites for law specifically, like young professionals is really good for a lot of careers, but it's really good for law. There's City Century, which is really good for law firms. There's Legal 500, Legal Best. All of those offer different networking opportunities. And if you go there and you've got something to say and something valuable to say, that's how you stand out, in my opinion.
Completely. And it's a very important skill to learn in life, learning to talk. So, Kaylan, as someone who's just finished university, I just finished civil engineering. How does the balance between working and studying feel? Is it manageable? How do you feel? How do you manage those dynamics?
Hey, yeah, so I guess you got to also have in the back of your mind that the universities and employers have kind of built these courses bearing in mind that you're working and you're studying. So they're not going to go and make you do 5 modules in one term and still expect you to go to work every day, right? They've made the modules at university manageable that you can do them, you can study for your 20% and you can work for 80% because that's how the split is at a degree apprenticeship. So right now, for the last 2 years, it's been manageable. I have heard that going on to level 6, it does get a bit more intense, but I guess that just comes as part of the package, right? To get it done within that time, you're going to have the extra pressure on you, but you also got to remember, don't get worried by it because they've made these courses and they've stipulated these time frames for a reason because it's all been thought about, tried and tested. And to be able to manage it, I guess the best thing you can do is don't sit on it. Once you've been given an assignment or been given a module, start looking into it, read it, spread yourselves over that first term, over the next terms as such, when your modules are, and look at it one by one by one. Don't go and look at it right at the end because that's then where you will mess up and make mistakes, right? Because it's designed to go every week. You're learning a bit, you're learning a bit, you're learning a bit, not just, oh yeah, I've done 12 weeks, is my last 2 weeks left, let me learn all about it now. So a big part of it is just be mature enough to know that you've got to make sure you've got enough time to learn the topics, revise them, practice questions, understand them, and spread your time out evenly to make sure you're not overdoing it and not underdoing it either. That
No,
answer the question?
of course. Thank you. And
Cool.
just another
I
one,
have
since
one for Maggie, please. Maggie, are T-levels suitable for those who have additional needs or learning disabilities?
Absolutely, yes. There is no barriers and they can apply reasonable adjustment. Any provider you would speak to would advise on reasonable adjustments needed for the students. It's definitely not a barrier for an employer. We are actually quite proud that we invest our time and resources in people that need that extra help. We have different talent and any need, you know, what you might see as a need, I see as a superpower.
Thank you.
There is something for everybody, definitely.
Thank you.
hi Maggie. Thank you for sharing your perspective as an early careers manager. It's been really insightful. So one of the things I agree with you on is your statement on soft skills. Just like before, I think it's really important. While students are in school, what kind of areas can they develop these soft skills, and what have you seen other people and other applicants develop their soft skills in? Is it like music or some particular extracurricular activity that you go to?
I would recommend any activities outside the school that could help you work on your teamwork, your communication skills, and your listening skills. These kind of networks are fantastic for developing your communication skills and presentation skills, because once you transition to a working life, it's very likely you're gonna do a presentation at some point, and lots of people struggle with that.
Yeah.
So take any opportunity to present in front of your friends, in front of your family, and gain that confidence. Because with that, the world is your oyster. And if you learn how to answer questions on the spot following your presentation, you are a winner. So practice, practice, practice.
No, I totally agree.
And on top of on the topic of soft skills, I'm gonna give you another advice, if I may. There is a platform online called Skills Builder. It has 7 employability skills that employers seek in young people, and you can develop those skills by doing series of activities from level 1 to 7. It's free to use, and I would recommend it to anybody. It's called Skills Builder. Oh, thank you, Oshwal. Yeah, we're talking the same language here.
Can I just quickly jump in? Because there's also 2 other platforms which I think might be useful as well, which is SpringPod and
Yeah,
Forage. So SpringPod is really good for general introductions to sectors, general introductions to careers, and they provide easy, accessible, and understandable content to develop skills. And then Forage sort of goes that step further, where once you've figured out a little bit areas that you might enjoy or areas that you might like, you can actually do online work experiences, which are becoming more and more valuable as we go on, and it really allows you to build different sides of your skill set. So yeah.
And there's also 2 organizations which are coming up. I think obviously you guys may have heard of it. One's Young Professionals. So they do a lot of networking events with loads of young people. They also pull in employers from different sectors to talk about their experiences and obviously offer experiences. And there's another online community which has been going on for a couple of years now. It's called Apprentice Dream. So that's literally a big group of apprentices. Whoever's applying, whoever's already an apprentice, is a big online group on LinkedIn, WhatsApp, I think, as well, and Instagram. So people can share their experiences. They put opportunities which are out there right now as well. So that's a really good opportunity as well.
Thank you guys. I mean, everything mentioned here is going to be linked in the comments, so just keep an eye out for that. And now this is where I think my knowledge kind of stops. Now, T levels is something that I was never taught about ever because it just wasn't there when I was applying for universities. So there's quite a few people with questions on T levels. So Shivani, one of the questions is, are T levels suitable for those who have additional needs and learning disabilities?
Yeah, I think Maggie answered a bit of that, but for sure, it's quite a hands-on qualification, so it's very step by step through the process. So I would definitely think that it is. And then again, employers now have the resources to accommodate those with extra needs. So I do think it's a very valid option if you know what you want to do in your career further.
Perfect. And another question we have is, what exam boards are T levels? Is it more practical than A levels or even GCSEs? And how are the grades set?
Okay, so I am part of the NCFE board. I don't know if all the T levels are part of that, but I think some are on Pearson as well. But I think there might be a few others. And then what was the second question? A levels to.
Is it more practical than A levels?
Yeah, so obviously A levels is more just classroom based. You do exams, you go in to learn, you go in 5 days. T levels, it is 80% classroom, 20% industry. So you do have to do your placement days. It's not optional. If you don't do them, you don't pass your course. And it's obviously you're taking your knowledge from class into practice and practice back to classroom.
Oh, amazing. Thank you very much. And moving on to the accounting side. So, Sani, how important is being confident with technology, especially now where I feel like people are getting a bit more relaxed with the AI tools we have?
Well, yeah, I think it's very important being being fluent with understanding how to use all technological like technology and all these platforms, because I think when you start working and when we're on placement, everything has become quite digitalized. In fact, PwC have released this chat PwC, so their own AI platform, which have now learned how to use, and they have quite a few training sessions. where they're helping us understand how to, from the smallest things to understanding how to use shortcuts on Excel, which I don't know, might save 1 minute of our day, but that 1 minute is extremely valuable. So I think it's something that 100% I would recommend you have a look into even before you've thought about applying for a place like this. And just generally in the world of work, I think having skills, especially on Excel and being quite tech savvy, understanding how to, for example, organize Zoom meetings like today, I think is definitely something that's applicable to not just accounting apprenticeships, but to, all world of work. So yeah, I definitely recommend having a look into improving those skills.
Thank you all for your time. No, amazing.
Sure.
Think we just had our last question come in just now. So when you meet with your friends who are in uni and they have taken a different route to you, how does the conversation fold? How often do you meet, and what stories of experience do you compare? Or who do I tell? I think Dia, yeah, I've not asked you a question.
Yeah, so most of my friends in university do normal degrees. And what because I'm on placement for 2 terms out of the year, I am with them basically every single day. The only time we're like distance is during the holidays and term time. But yeah, I obviously not many people had heard about this course, so even telling my friends about this now, they found it quite interesting as well. But that also applying to internships and placements as well. So obviously there's nothing wrong with doing a normal degree at the end of the day because there's still so many other options. But I do think like I've got the perfect balance of university life and working life, so I get to experience both.
No, thank you very much. I think that's
I
all from the
think,
question.
yeah,
Yeah, go
just
for
to
it.
add in a point there as well. I mean, a lot of people aren't sure before they
Yeah,
apply for university what they want to do. But then, me and Dia, for example, when we go to university and we see the position our friends are in, sometimes they all end up doing
finance,
finance and they go into those sort of
accounting, yeah.
fields, but they end up having to apply like for 100 different places and everyone is struggling. To be honest, the job market at the moment is quite
Tough.
difficult, especially in certain industries. So I think that's one conversation I have with my friends, and they just go to me like, "You're so lucky. How did you manage this?" And
Mm,
to be honest, a lot of it was luck. I was lucky that I came across this when I was actually applying and looking for something. And hopefully, what we're doing here today is raising awareness about what we've done so it can help you as well.
yeah,
And another thing to add as well, although you're doing a degree apprenticeship and you may be only one or two people in your company, when you go to uni, you're going to be with degree apprentices that are from different companies. So within my course, I think there's around 100 people, and I've got people coming. There's people in like Nottingham, Norwich, Liverpool. Some people even come from Bath. So they all travel in for that course, and you're not only seeing what you're doing at your company, but then you're getting an insight when you go to uni what other kids your age are performing like or what they're doing day to day in different companies. Even if you're in the same role as them, they're working on something different or they're innovating on something different. You're getting that different experience from them because when you go to uni, you're all together for that one day.
yeah. Also, I think we're so lucky to have already started working so early on. Like so many people don't get the chance to do that. So I do think there is an advantage there.
And I did read one question that was, what are the negatives of being an apprentice? I had to think long and hard for that one, but
Mm,
I think one of them may be actually we're working so early, we're working so young. So initially, when you go on placement, it's so daunting because you look around you and you think, everyone knows so much more than I do. Everyone's, you get scared because you're so young and quite a mature environment. But I think that's also the beauty of it. That's why they call it degree apprenticeships or a head start, flying start, because you get given these opportunities. And I promise you, within a few weeks, maybe a month, you'll feel really settled and people are there to help you. And you'll learn a lot and learn very quickly.
Can I just finish, like, add one more thing in? There's a lot to say on this point about keeping relationships, for example, with your friends and everything. I think also a good point to mention is, when you're doing this degree apprenticeship, you're also earning a salary, right? And luckily, with the age that we all are, for example, from 18 to 25, you can use, for example, student rail card. So there's nothing stopping you from visiting your friends at uni during term time if you're based in London. Like Shivani can attest to the fact that I think every month I've gone to a different uni to see different friends over first year, because at the end of the day, you and your friends are getting so different experiences. It's only really a net positive because you both learn off each other, and that is the beauty. So there's nothing stopping you from going to visit your friends, and all it takes is a little bit of organization. So it really does allow for that really balanced lifestyle.
Uh, okay. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you. I think I've learned a lot more. But I think we have about 1 more minute until the end of the presentation. So if anyone wants to add any inspiring phrases or
Hi, so thanks, Ashil.
yeah.
Kaylan, any final words before we close?
Just everyone, thank you for joining. Obviously, you've shown an interest in coming, which is always the first step in getting that passion to go out, do a T-level degree apprenticeship, go and get a career. So keep it up, keep up the hard work, keep pushing, ignore the noise, get your goal, and you guys will all smash it, as Maggie said. So well done.
Thank you, Kaylan. So I'm so inspired. Tomorrow I'm going to look into if I can start an apprenticeship. Hopefully there's no upper age for pensioners. Wow. All I can say is I don't know what to say. I'm lost for words. Thank you to all the panelists. Maggie, your insight was amazing as the expert. I thank you so much for giving up your valuable time. I hope the audience got a lot of information out of this. If you do have any more questions, please do email us. You can email me, smitha.j.shah@oshwal.org, and I'll pass it on to our panelists. On behalf of OA UK, thank you for joining us today. And our next OBPN event is on the 4th of October at Exeter Centre. Details on our website, and there are a couple more webinars being planned, so look out for those details. My last thank you to Kaylan, who pulled everything together, even though it was a little bit last minute, but it's okay. So thank you for driving this. I really appreciate it. You sort of brought my vision to reality, so I really appreciate that, Kaylan, and the rest of you as well. And finally, the IT team, I just have to say thank you so much for all the background work. And with that, I'm going to say good night to everyone and wish you all a good evening.
हरिहंत प्रभु ना दर्शन करता
ॐ नमो हरिहन्ताणम्
सिद्ध प्रभु ना दर्शन करता
ॐ नमो सिद्धाणम्
आचार्यों ने वंदन करता
ॐ नमो आयर्याणम्
उपाध्याय ने वंदन करता
ॐ नमो उपध्यायाणम्
सर्व साधु ने वंदन करता
नमो लोये सब साहूणम्
सम्यक दर्शन मुझने मर्जो
देशो पञ्चन मुक्तारो
सम्यक ज्ञान मुझने मर्जो
सौवा